Making big changes to your gimmick within wrestling must be kind of nerve-wracking, especially if you've already got a well-known and beloved character. It's no secret that a key to longevity in wrestling is to update your persona to add new, interesting and marketable layers, but still, if something's already established and works well, you'd definitely think twice about changing everything that already made you a success. The Undertaker's Deadman gimmick was one of the most over characters in the old WWF, with his seemingly supernatural powers and ominous look successfully generating millions of fans during the early to mid-90s. Mark Calaway didn't listen to the old saying, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it," as he completely altered his gimmick in the year 2000, rolling the dice in hopes that his new American Badass character would be just as successful as the Deadman. In today's video, we take a look at the introduction of the American Badass Undertaker. Our story begins then in September of 1999. Undertaker at this point was a bad guy in wrestling, teaming up with the Big Show to form the Unholy Alliance. The corporate ministry had disbanded, and Undertaker was toning back slightly on the whole supernatural stuff, such as sacrificing people on giant Undertaker symbols, that kind of thing. The Big Show and Undertaker tag team was quite odd, with Big Show acting more like Undertaker's servant, doing all his dirty work for him. There was a reason for this, however. During the last weeks of the Unholy Alliance, The Undertaker was suffering from a bad groin injury which forced him out of the ring. While injured, he would still appear on TV, giving orders to the Big Show while not working any strenuous matches. Undertaker was scheduled to work at the 1999 Unforgiven pay-per-view in the main event, a six-pack challenge for the vacant WWF Championship. However, his injuries required him to take time off television, and thus Undertaker was replaced by the British Bulldog. Undertaker was even on the poster for this pay-per-view. On screen, Undertaker's absence was explained in quite a curious way. He refused to wrestle a match against Triple H, which was orchestrated by Vince McMahon, saying he doesn't follow Vince's orders, and so he just got up and left the World Wrestling Federation. Undertaker came back to work in December of 1999, with his first match being in Puerto Rico. This was a house show, but some footage does exist of the match on YouTube, albeit not the full match. Undertaker is still using his heel Deadman gimmick here, no sign of any drastic changes. Undertaker was scheduled to work at the Armageddon pay-per-view in the weeks that followed, however he tore his pectoral muscle, and The Undertaker was once again put on the injured list. He wouldn't return until May 2000, missing out here on WrestleMania. WrestleMania 2000 saw Triple H winning the world title, but the next month at Backlash, he dropped the title to The Rock. This was our main feud around the time that The Undertaker was due to make his comeback, as the McMahon-Helmsley faction were running roughshod all over the WWF. Rocky vs Hunter at Judgment Day 2000 would be an Iron Man match, a match that would supposedly settle the score and end the long feud between the Game and the Great One. Overseeing this match was special guest referee Shawn Michaels, the commissioner of the WWF at the time. In the weeks leading up to Judgment Day, these creepy promos appeared on screen, showing some kids talking about someone coming back from the dead while playing in some sort of fairy wasteland. The message shown at the end of the promos said Judgment Day is coming, and the promos played multiple times during shows, leading us to believe that these were not normal pay-per-view commercials, but it was some sort of message or surprise for the event. As much as I'd like to say that these promos left everyone clueless, we all knew it was for The Undertaker. No one else really in the WWF, with maybe the exception of Kane, would have gotten these kind of creepy themed teaser promos made for them. Still, I remember being excited for this. I always liked when the WWE done these kind of cryptic promos. I also have very fond memories of the whole Save Us Y2J thing. That stuff was done really well. I've talked previously about the Bret Hart vs Shawn Michaels Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12 and how fans seem to be split on that match, some calling it a bit too slow paced and a little bit boring. Well, for those fans in particular, The Rock vs Triple H at Judgment Day 2000 is a must-see Iron Man match. This one is jam-packed with action and is much faster paced than the WrestleMania 12 match. That being said, the WrestleMania Iron Man match did have a much grander feeling. It did seem like a bigger deal at WrestleMania, but that's par for the course. Rock vs Triple H at Judgment Day is a great match, one of their better encounters, but in saying that, I do prefer their SummerSlam 98 ladder match a little bit more. Take nothing away from this Iron Man match though, it was great. With under 3 minutes to go at the end of the match, Triple H had scored 5 falls, while The Rock had 4. Shane, Stephanie and Vince McMahon walked down the ramp, wanting to ensure here that The Rock didn't score that extra fall in the closing minutes. Vince and Shane jumped up onto the ring apron, but The Rock was able to fend them off, proceeding to hit Triple H with the people's elbow and scoring a fall. It was all levelled up now with 2 minutes left in the match. This was exciting stuff. Shane McMahon pulled special referee Shawn Michaels out of the ring, leading to HBK taking out both Shane and Vince. Meanwhile, in the ring, D-Generation X interfered. Shawn was knocked off the apron as he tried to get back in the ring, so now the match was without a referee. As DX began beating down on The Rock, the creepy girls from the Judgment Day promo appeared on the big screen as the crowd inched closer to the edge of their seats. Was this it? Were we going to see the return of The Undertaker? Was it something else completely different? The creepy girls could be heard saying, "He's here." This had to be The Undertaker, right? Kid Rock's American Badass played in the arena, albeit very briefly, as a man made his way down the ramp on a motorbike. Yeah, this was The Undertaker, but not as we previously knew him. Undertaker had totally changed his look, now wearing a bandana, sunglasses and denim. Taker was also wearing a long leather biker's coat, and we all looked on in disbelief at this new updated version of The Undertaker. In quick time, Taker got into the ring and cleaned house, destroying DX members and the McMahons until no one was left standing. Triple H took a chokeslam in the closing seconds of the match, and after the time had officially run out, Undertaker hit Hunter with a tombstone piledriver. Shawn had seen enough, and due to Undertaker's involvement, he disqualified The Rock and gave Hunter another decision, meaning Triple H had won the Iron Man match 6 points to 5. High drama here for sure, as Triple H became the new WWF champion. The story here though was this new Undertaker who had just made his debut. Gone was the iconic theme music, the hat, the black robes, all of that stuff. What we had here was Mark Calaway updating his character in an attempt to be more contemporary and in line with the WWF image at the time. Undertaker recently said, "I felt that if I started feeling stale, then my audience is probably feeling it before me. If I hadn't changed when I did and became the American Badass, I don't think I would have made it through the Attitude Era. I was too handcuffed for our content, and to tell the truth, I had been there for 9 or 10 years and I needed the handcuffs off. I needed to let people see a different variation." I think I should point out here also that Kevin Nash said in an interview that Undertaker changed to the biker gimmick due to Mark Calaway possibly coming to WCW. Now, I don't believe this, as I can't believe anyone, let alone The Undertaker, would have wanted to jump to WCW in the year 2000 or even late 1999 when Undertaker was injured, but I thought it was something that's worth sharing. Kevin Nash said, "We had Taker close. All of a sudden, he wasn't the Deadman. He became the American Badass for a reason. The Deadman wasn't going to come to WCW. He would have been the biker character and gone by Mark Calaway. All along, I was trying to get guys money. I was trying to get guys paid. And what happened was Vince started giving huge guarantees to the Shawns and Undertakers and those guys." What Kevin is trying to say here is that the Deadman gimmick couldn't debut in World Championship Wrestling as the World Wrestling Federation owned the rights to that character, and Mark Calaway had to become the bagger because had he jumped over to WCW, he could have continued portraying that character instead, which was a more overall basic gimmick. Still, I find this one hard to believe. Undertaker spoke quite a lot about his loyalty to World Wrestling Entertainment in his recent Broken Skull sessions on the WWE Network, and it seems like the guy always knew he wouldn't jump ship. So we all waited until the following night on Raw to learn more about this new Undertaker character. We knew he looked different, but would he act different? Were his promos going to be different? Is he now a through and through babyface after closing out his previous run as a bad guy? We needed to know, and on Raw the next night, well, we didn't really get any answers. Vince McMahon started the show off looking pretty pleased that his son-in-law picked up the world title the night before. Vince ordered a 4-on-1 match for the main event, with The Rock scheduled to take on Road Dogg, X-Pac, Shane McMahon and Triple H. Vince left the ring and made his way backstage, where the Great One was waiting for him. The Rock comically beat the life out of Vince, throwing him into a limousine and telling the driver to take Vince away. During the course of Raw, The Rock took out members of the McMahon-Helmsley faction, making quick work of Road Dogg, X-Pac and Shane McMahon. At the end of the show, The Rock and Triple H had a fist fight before the remaining members of the McMahon-Helmsley faction made an appearance, and in a repeat moment from Judgment Day, The Rock fell victim to a beatdown. And again, just like Judgment Day, the creepy girls came on the Titantron as the crowd erupted. Undertaker came out and totally cleaned house, destroying anything that moves as his American Badass theme played in the arena. Quick side note, if you watch this now on the WWE Network, the Kid Rock song has been replaced by the Undertaker's You're Gonna Pay theme. Must be something to do with the song licensing, which is a shame to be honest. The song did fit this era of the Undertaker. The song was his namesake after all. Anyway, it was cool once again to see the Undertaker here, but again, he didn't speak. We knew he had no love for the McMahons and DX, so we knew he was a good guy, obviously. But what was his motivations here? Only one thing for it, we would have to tune in to Smackdown. The May 25th Smackdown started with a ton of policemen standing in the ring. A limo pulled up backstage and out walks Vince McMahon. Vince has called the police to arrest The Undertaker, but what Vince didn't know was that The Undertaker was already waiting for him backstage. Taker attempts to run Vince over in his motorcycle, but Vince gets out of the way just in time. A great little segment here that gets silly when Vince tries to escape up a ladder, only for the ladder to fall with Vince still on it. Vince then makes his way to the ring and rips into the cops for not helping him before calling Taker out to the ring. Finally, we were about to hear The Undertaker talk. Undertaker made his way to the ring looking insanely cool, and he got into the ring showing no fear towards Vince's boys in blue. Vince says that the cops are going to arrest him, but before that happens, Vince wants Undertaker to know that it was he who cost The Rock the WWF Championship at Judgment Day. Vince also said that Undertaker is not under contract with the WWE due to Taker leaving him in kayfabe back in '99, and because of this, Undertaker was trespassing. At this moment, Undertaker grabbed the mic. Finally, we would hear from the Taker. The following quote serves as a great example of how the Undertaker had changed from his old Deadman gimmick for sure. Undertaker said, "Now check this out, boss. This is the way it goes down. Do you ever talk to your old lady anymore? Because if you did, you would know that before Judgment Day started, she signed me to a fat contract, and it breaks down like this. Lots of years and lots of zeros." Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, what does this mean? It means you get the pleasure of paying me a lot of money to kick your stank ass. With my accent, it sounds so ridiculous, I know, but read over that promo again and imagine 1994 Undertaker saying those words. The creatures of the night will kick your stank ass. Anyway, yeah, The Undertaker had spoken and he was definitely displaying a new attitude. No more funerals, no more caskets. It was all about motorcycles, rap rock music, and kicking stank ass. In the year 2000, this stuff worked. Anyway, the cops left the ring due to McMahon's behaviour. Undertaker was left alone with Vince McMahon. Shane came in with a chair, hitting Undertaker and allowing Vince to make an escape. However, Undertaker just totally no-sold the chair shot. In the main event that night, Shane McMahon was booked into a match with The Undertaker, but it was definitely a throwaway match. Taker didn't even take his jacket off as he beat down Shane, leading to the McMahon-Helmsley faction interfering. This allowed The Rock to return the favour from Judgment Day and Raw as Rocky hit the ring and helped The Undertaker clear out the ring. This episode of Smackdown was definitely the most important in establishing The Undertaker's new character. He was the main focus of the show, and the WWE did a great job here in making The Undertaker a legitimate badass. From the pre-taped segment at the beginning where he tried to run down Vince, to Taker showing no fear when surrounded by cops, to the stank-ass comment, and the ring clear-out at the end with The Rock. This episode served to present this new American badass character to the world, and it went down well. Give this one a watch for sure. The whole episode was good from start to end. The next pay-per-view, King of the Ring, saw Undertaker and The Rock teaming up with Kane to take on Vince, Shane and Triple H. The stipulation here was if any member of The Undertaker's team got the pinfall victory, they would become the WWF Champion. After the babyfaces turned on each other due to wanting to win the belt, the match ended with Rocky scoring the pinfall and once again becoming the champion. The stipulation here added an additional layer to this match. A good main event for sure. And that's it really for the introduction of the American badass gimmick in the World Wrestling Federation. The huge gamble taken by The Undertaker had paid off, and the fans got behind this new character in a big way. Of course, over time, The Undertaker would again evolve his character, and it wasn't long before the American badass became Big Evil, a heel version of the biker Undertaker that again went over very well with fans. Eventually, everything would come full circle as The Undertaker returned to the Deadman gimmick to much fanfare, but it was still great to see such an established superstar take a chance here in order to provide further entertainment to fans. Hats off to The Undertaker.